Chapter 1 saw us take over Belarusian minnows FC Slonim 2017, whom were fighting relegation in the Belarusian First League. It was our first job. We were naive, we were wide-eyed, we were hopeful. We battled and fought our way out of the relegation, thanks to the wondrous effort of the great legend that is Oleg Goroshimchik. A year later, we went on to be crowned champions off the back of a Belarusian wonder kid named Vladimir Saramarko. But the jump to the pinnacle of the Belarusian Football League proved to be an insurmountable challenge for this very small team, but one the boys stood up to. Led by veteran winger and once great Southampton player Papo Uego and the return of the golden boy Vlad, we managed to survive our lone season in the top tier of Belarus, taking until the final day of the season to achieve it. I resigned that very same day. I flew off into the sunset with confidence flying high and eager to try myself somewhere new. It took only 16 days, but now I'm hungry for success. Hey, what's happening everyone? Journeyman here, and welcome back to a Journeyman's Journey. Today is the very first episode of Chapter 2 in our epic story. So today we take over as manager of Honvéd Budapest in Hungary. Yep, we've decided to go to Hungary. I was actually given the option to try a few different teams out. It was quite incredible, actually. I applied for about 20 different roles that were very similar in reputation to what we had in Belarus, and the response was actually fantastic. I got job offers in France and Holland, but for some strange reason I decided that Budapest was the best place to be. Alright, so let's take a quick look at this football club, get you guys assimilated to our new home, Budapest Honvéd Football Club. Founded in 1909, they currently hold a national reputation. Finances are pretty good. One of the things that attracted me to this job was a very attractive transfer budget. We have £1.5 million to spend, and we have around about £9,000 in workable wage budget to try and bring talent in. Now, as far as honours this football club has, they've been Mitropa Cup, which is kind of their version of the FA Cup, I guess, kind of ish. I'm not quite sure myself, but they've won it once. The Hungarian Division 1, the top tier, which we will be playing in, by the way, won that 14 times. We've also won the Hungarian Cup 8 times and Hungarian Division 2 once in our history. As far as facilities go, it's actually a very nice little stadium. It was renovated back in 2019, and it's an 8,000 all-capacity stadium. We play at Bostock Yusuf Stadion, and it's actually pretty decent facilities. We have corporate facilities, we have options regarding that. So as far as finances go and facilities-wise, we're actually pretty well taken care of. We have above average youth recruitment, which is great to have. Adequate junior coaching, adequate average youth facilities. Poor data, well, that's whatever. Average trainer and that's really good. That's a really good starting point, and I've already highlighted a couple of youth players in this team that could be potentially really good players in the future. So I take over this team currently midway through the Hungarian League season now. I've got one game to go until I get a break. I get kind of a winter break, and after that we don't return until the end of January. So there'll be kind of a one game here, and then we'll have almost like a pre-season, which is good news for me because that means I can bring in my own staff, maybe some players or maybe some staff members from FC Slonim. I'd love to get Kasimchik back as a director of football just for the laugh of it all, but I'll love to bring him back in if possible. But anyway, it gives me a chance then to really establish my own identity on this football team, because I'd like to have a lot of success here. I think there is the potential in this football club to do that. As you can see, we currently sit 10th place in the table, just outside the relegation zone, 2 points ahead of Diosgur. Oh geez, I've got to learn a whole new level of pronunciation here in Hungary. So I was just getting the hang of things in Belarus, and then I've had to switch things up, and now I have to learn a completely new type of pronunciation here in Hungary. So that's going to be fun and challenging, I'm sure. Alright, so without further ado, this is the Honvéd first team lineup. Now let's take a quick look at things top to bottom, see where the key players are, see where the weaknesses are, and we'll do our first match today as well, up against Mezzo Covest Mezzo. We're playing Mezzo today in our very first game in charge, so we have to get to know the team, right? So let's take a quick look here. Goalkeeper wise, looks pretty decent already. Obviously I'm basing this off my assistant manager star rating. I'm yet to get to know these guys, but anyway, goalkeeper Georgi Nagy. Now Georgi Nagy is a Hungarian goalkeeper, and on first impression, pretty nice indeed. Pretty good goalkeeper, sweeper keeper as well, so that fits my mold of tactics. We got a 3.5-star defender here, David Karnaki Kiss, I think that's his name, Hungarian centre back here. Pretty well rounded. Big guy, 6'2", looks pretty solid centre half. Not had a great season though, only averaging 6.61 over all competitions, so not really had a great time, but hopefully we'll fix that. Next to him will be Bence Batic, who is a centre-half, again another Hungarian player here. Can also play right back, can play midfield a little bit as well. This guy looks a little bit better as far as mentally and physically. Technically, not very gifted at all, but he looks like a pretty good player for us. 4-star current ability according to my assistant manager, 4.5-star potential. He's only 27 years old. I think we've probably seen the best of him, but still, pretty decent player to have on board. All right, moving into midfield now. Christian Zoc, Cameroonian international player. He is obviously looks like a centre midfielder. Doesn't really excel in any one particular area. Currently rated at 3.5-star for my assistant manager. Not really truly convinced on him and his ability yet, because he doesn't offer really anything technically. Physically, he looks a little on the weak side, especially when it comes to midfielders. Mentally speaking too, I mean, determination, 5, flair. Obviously, he hasn't got any flair. Leadership, 4, not really what I'm looking for in a centre midfielder. We'll see what we can do with him. But as things currently stand, Christian Zoc doesn't really look like a player that I want to keep hold of. Next up, this guy looks a bit better. Patrick Hidi, who is a centre midfielder, Hungarian, used to play for the under-21 teams, defensive midfielder. Plays a box-to-box midfielder, or if he plays a little bit deeper, he can play that playmaker role. Pretty well spread out in his attributes, as you can see. There's a lot of early 10s in there. Doesn't particularly excel in physicality. Mentally is actually pretty solid, actually, for a player at this level. And technically speaking, doesn't really excel at anything. So again, just a very well-rounded, solid midfielder. I'm sure we can make use of. All right, move on to the left-hand side of midfield now. Philippe Hollander. Now, this guy does look like he could be a useful player out wide. So far, he's actually got himself 3 goals in 7 starts in the league. So that's a pretty decent record. He can also play up top. He can also play left back if necessary, right midfield, left midfield. Mr. Versatility, Swiss Army knife, that is, Philippe Hollander. 3.5-star current ability. Doesn't really have a lot of pace, though. Not really what I mean. I like to have players with a little bit of pace out wide. Doesn't really excel in that, but flair's pretty good. 14, so he's obviously a creative kind of player. We'll see what he can do. He's right-footed, by the way. He likes to play out left, so he likes to play, obviously, an inverted winger or inside forward, I guess would be the correct term. We're playing a bit more advanced, but looks pretty decent, and we'll see what we can do with him. All right, moving to the opposite flank now. Thomas Pilik, who is actually a club legend. He is considered in that category. He's I'm not sure why. I think because I'm not sure why. I presume because he's the favourite. He's played 31 games the last 2 seasons and done a very good job for him too. 10 assists in his first season, 9 in the second, and he's already on 7 assists for the season. So the guy obviously is a very, very creative player. He can also play left side of midfield. Can also play centre midfield. Just overall, he's a fan favourite. So therefore, by default, he's a favourite of mine as well. Now, Liverpool fans, you might remember this guy, David Ngog. Yep, David Ngog, the signing for Liverpool from PSG. A bit of a nomadic player. He had his moments of brilliance, and then he had his moments of downright stupidity. But overall, it's kind of interesting that I've landed with David Ngog. This is pretty interesting. Hasn't done great so far this season. Still plays primarily as a striker. Never really prolific in the whole of his career. He's only notched up 48 league goals and 295 appearances. Not what I would say is very, very prolific. But in any sense of the word, he so far he's got 1 goal this season, 5 in all competitions. Because believe it or not, Honved were actually in Europe at the beginning of this current season. They were knocked out in the second knockout rounds, I believe. But we're not playing in Europe anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, David Ngog only got 1 goal in 12 this season. Obviously, I'm looking to see an improvement off that. Obviously, he's an experienced striker, decent striker still, and let's see what we can do with him. All right, so after that, we just got a bunch of kind of 3-star players, 2.5-star players, so a lot of good average kind of Hungarian players in there. Promising player that we do have that was in my youth team when I came in was this guy, Andras Dabasi. Obviously, he's got a lot of holes in his game, especially technically speaking. Certainly a poacher. His long shots are only 4, so if he takes a shot outside of the 6-yard box, I don't expect it to even make it to the goal line. But overall, the kid does have a bit of potential. He's only 16 years old, and he's already played 1 game in the Hungarian Division 1. Didn't play very well in it, but I'm hoping I can correct that. Maybe I'm looking at kind of an experienced and young kind of prodigy situation up top. Davin Gog as the target man, and obviously Dabasi as the poacher. We'll have to think about that over the mid-season break. All right, so in case you want to take a look at things, this is how finances are right now. As you can see, we have an overall balance of £583,570 in the black. That's the first time I've seen us in the black, one of my teams in the black, for quite some time. So I'm looking to try and keep it that way this time. I'm going to try and be fiscally responsible, not make any promises, but I'm going to do my best. As you can see, budget's on the top right-hand corner. We currently have a budget of £1.4 million to spend on transfers coming in, so you'll see me spend some of that, no doubt, over the January transfer window. And we actually have a pretty okay budget as far as wages go as well. We have about £7,000 to work with, so that's a pretty decent chunk of change, considering that most of our squad, if you take a look at things, don't really earn a lot of money as far as wages go. The highest player on the squad is Pilak, £2,000 a week, and after that Danilo, $1,500 for Zark. And as you can see, so £7,000 can actually get you quite a decent player coming in. Now back to the Hungarian First Division. The current holders of the championship are Ferencváros. I think that's how you pronounce it, Ferencváros. Obviously, please let me know in the comments below how do I pronounce some of this stuff. It really does help me out and makes it better quality content, I feel. But yeah, these guys are currently league champions, reigning league champions. Best player in the squad according to value is going to be this guy, Lucas Bolly. So yeah, he looks talented, honestly, but doesn't look completely much better than what we have in our squad. So I mean, if that's something to go by, then at least we stand half a chance of competing with the teams at the very top of the division. That was the issue that I had in Belarus. I got into the league and looked at the talent that was in the mid and the top range of that league, and we just were never ever going to get there with the type of money that we had coming into the club. So I decided to take a next step forward and try something different. So at least I've gone into a league now where I feel like I can compete with the very top teams and maybe establish an identity and establish some trophies here in Hungary. Probably the most recognized team in Hungary, you could argue, would be VDFC. Obviously, VDFC are a pretty well-known team. I actually recognize this team when I joined the league. Players-wise, who do they have? Anyone that I recognize? Not right now, but currently they are top of the table and 3 points clear of Ferencváros. If you actually look over here, the past winners too, Honvéd, we actually won it back in 2016, 2017. So we're recently champions. So there's no really excuse for us not to get back up there as quickly as possible. We have the facilities, we have the money. Now we just make sure we got the manager, right? Me in charge to push them to that next level. All right, so my first order of business, of course, has to be going back to Slonie. And let's go ahead and get ourselves a certain director of football, Oleg Godashimchik. Let's approach to sign him, director of football. There we go, £8,000. Yes, sir, that's worth every single penny. And speaking of staff members, this is currently my assistant manager, Gabor Harris. He just looks like a friendly fellow, doesn't he, really? He looks like he can cook a really good meal, too. And you know what? For the time being, I'm going to keep him on as assistant manager. All right, so I'm barely stepped off the plane here, and now we're going to take it on Mezzo. We're taking on Mezzo. I've already gone through that process, but anyway, we're taking on Mezzo at home here. So just before the break, as I mentioned, I'm not really expecting anything out of this game, honestly. I just don't know these players. I don't know the best tactic we can use, so I'm just going to go stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation that we utilized at Slonie at the end of the campaign. So without knowing too much about these players, let's go pick a team, shall we? So Naji's obviously going to be our goalkeeper here, right back. I'm guessing the best right back we have here is I guess Ben Batic, I presume. Ball playing defender, Kiss, excellent. Kanoki Kiss. I guess Marcos can partner him. Let's take a look at him. He looks kind of so-so, young centre half, decent on the cover, so that could be decent to have, especially with Kiss here. He's not as fast, so it's good to have a kind of a fast defender next to him. So that'd be good. Left back. Izuma. Oh, by the way, you can only play 5 foreign players, similar to the Belarusian highest league. Right now, we haven't selected any, so that won't be a problem. I don't think we have many foreigners in our squad anyway. Anyway, box-to-box midfielder. Who's that going to be? That's a good question, isn't it? Heedy would usually be that guy, but he's going to be out until the end of the break. So, best player in here will probably be, let's see, Zoc. What's his fitness like? Pretty good, 10. How about Kleis? Mark Kleis. Oh, yeah, this guy. Mark Kleis. There we go. Box-to-box midfielder. As you can see, 17 natural fitness. He's almost the perfect box-to-box midfielder. In fact, he's a Hungarian international. He's one cap for them and 22 years old. This guy could actually be pretty decent. Try and work on him. Born midfielder. Who's that going to be? Zoc. We'll put Zoc at the born midfielder. Inside forward. Pilik, definitely on the right-hand side, the left side, Hollander, we talked about him at the beginning of this episode. Playmaker, David Ngog, why not put Ngog in there? Why not indeed? Playing behind a user of experience there. Pressing forward, who should we have here? Who's this guy? Don't know too much about him. Dominic Solstice, 20-year-old, bit of pace, dribbling, how's his work rate and stuff? Work rate's 9, kind of so-so. Who else you got? Dabassi. We could just throw Dabassi in the deep end. Sorry, let's put Dabassi in the deep end. There you go. Press him forward. Not really a perfect role, but it doesn't matter anyway. Again, this game, I'm not expecting anything out of. My first game in Hungary literally has happened the moment I signed this contract. So, all right. So we got 7 subs to use. Let's go ahead and pick a team real quick. I've also noticed we have like 900 centre half, so I'm not sure why that is the case. Some of those players won't be there. And take a look at this B team, by the way. We've got a lot of players, a lot of promising players too, but a lot of players. So I'm definitely going to have to sit here, I don't know, a good couple of hours just to work out who's going to be good enough to keep. All right, that looks good to me. 4-2-3-1 up against Mezzo's 4-4-2. So here we go. Again, no expectations from this game itself. I don't even speak Hungarian, so I'm not sure what I'm saying to these guys is actually getting across or not. I'm going to presume so. There's a lot of green thumbs up there, so they're obviously getting my point across. Obviously, football is a universal language. So without further ado, let's get our first game in charge here of Honved underway. Obviously, we play in the red and white stripes, as you can see on the left-hand side of your page. My favourite colour, by the way. Not today, because we just lost to Fulham, but nevertheless, red and white is still my favourite colour. All right, going to be a bold here and tell the guys to get creative. There's been no chances here in the first half. Here's a chance, though, and it's a goal. It's an own goal, maybe. Who scored that? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, own goal from the Mezzo defender, Akos Kexes there. Great finish, too, on his head, by the way. And we're 1-0 to the good. All right, chance now for Mezzo just before the break. Ball gets put in. Nobody's picking him at the far post. Free header from 6 yards out. He's not going to miss that. And Roman Ferber has made it 1-1 just before the break. All right, so halftime here, and it's 1-1. So, a bit of an even game. We control possession, which is good to see. So, obviously, my tactic is carrying over nicely into Hungary. Maybe that's something we can build upon. We'll have to find an attacking centre midfielder, though, because we don't really have one, and Gog really isn't that guy. But anyway, let's make a change up top. Dabassi, he's been poor. He's young. He's going to make mistakes. I wanted to take a look at him. So we'll take him off here and we'll bring on Dominic Solstice. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Dominic Solstice. A bit more natural to the role. 2.5 star compared to Dabassi's 2-star. Again, I'm going off my star system here. Probably a bad move, but I've got to do that until I get to know these players. Any other changes? No, I don't think so. Let's get the second half rolling here. Obviously, I'd love to maybe get ourselves a winner. Wouldn't that be fantastic? All right, so on the 70-minute mark, and not much action here at all to speak of. So, what changes can we make to freshen things up out there? Let's bring off Bence Batik and let's bring on Kovacs, who is an attacking fullback and actually even play up top if necessary too. So let's bring them on there, get a bit of support out wide right. Again, I've got overlapping wing backs, by the way, with 2 inside forwards. So having attacking fullbacks definitely works for us in our favour. So let's see what Kovacs can offer. He came in from the reserve team, by the way, for this game. All right, chance now for Pilik. That's a decent effort, audacious you could say, even though from about 35 yards out, there would have been some free kick for that to go in. All right, so it's a highlight. 4 minutes ago in this game. We are dominating possession and we are dominating the chances here in the second half. We're just going to make one count. So here's Ozuma now. Doing a little bit of dancing over the ball. Lays it to Hollander. Back to Ngog. To Kleis. To Pilik is now in the box. Pilik is through on goal. Oh, that's a good save at the near post from Lambert. And that was a great chance there for Pilik, the fan favourite there, to give us the winner here. He puts the ball in, then it's cleared at the near post from Mazo. Alright, so time winding down here on the first game in charge here at Honved. It's going to finish 1-1. You could say that it was a disappointing result. We were favourites to win today, and the media predicted that we would get a victory as well. But you know what? We didn't lose in our first game in charge. I'm hoping this will be a platform then to grow upon. But as we know now, as I've mentioned a couple of times, we're going to have a mid-season break coming up. And take a look, as you can see, 4 more friendlies, and then we don't kickstart the league season again until the 30th of January. And we're currently in the 12th of December, so it's quite a break actually. But anyway, this will give me a lot of time to obviously assess the squad, bring some players in, try and find suss out what we have, what we don't have, get rid of some players, etc., etc. Really stamp my authority on this team. And then for the second half of the campaign, we'll really kick things off. This is how things currently stand on the table halfway through the season. 9th place, doing okay. I'd like to see us maybe get into that upper echelon, maybe that upper mid-table role, that 5th, that 6th, maybe challenge for Europe. Who knows? There's a long season yet to play out in this series. But anyway, I'm very excited. We have Chapter 2 up and running now. Hope you guys are excited as I am to get a new challenge underway here in Hungary. Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys have any experience managing Hungary? Any tips, any tricks, any players I should know about? Anyone that knows how to speak Hungarian, please let me know how to pronounce some of the players that I have in my squad and some of the other teams around the league as well. It'll just make my commentary a little bit more crisp, a little bit more sound, and obviously a little bit better for you guys to enjoy. But thank you guys so much for your support during Chapter 1, and I'm looking forward to getting Chapter 2 rolling. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys soon. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.